As much as I enjoyed that last clip from Ronald Acuna Jr. in his home country hitting a home run off some high school kids and seeing them all erupt and celebrate, it couldn't help but make me sad because it made me realize that we won't be able to see Ronald Acuna Jr. doing this in the big leagues for the next few weeks because we know that baseball has been canceled for the foreseeable future. Now, we are going to talk about some positive news today. Thank you, baseball gods. Something good happened yesterday, and I want to go ahead and showcase it because, again, not very many good things to talk about, so we're going to go ahead and highlight that in just a moment. We're going to quickly recap what is happening in the lockout, and also Freddie Freeman might be going to the New York Mets. I don't think it's going to happen necessarily, but the rumors have been confirmed that the Mets and Freddie Freeman did in fact talk before the lockout happened back in December, so we're going to go ahead and break that down. Now, before we talk about more spring training games that have been canceled as well as the positive news, Bryce Harper is back at it yet again. A few days ago, he posted a Photoshop of him playing in Japan. Just a funny joke because baseball's locked out, and I think there's actually a clause where baseball players can go use their services in other countries or other leagues if they wanted to. So Bryce Harper posting a Taiwanese jersey swap. That would be a lot of fun. The dude might hit 85 home runs in a single season if he went overseas. So let's move on over to the lockout update. We have some positive news before we get into the recent negative news. The Players Association launched a $1 million fund for stadium employees. The players are not responsible for the stadium or the people that work in it, but they set up a $1 million fund to help out the people who sell hot dogs, the people that tell you where your seats are. Those are the people that are affected most aside from the players, because we all know the billionaires, they can outlast everyone. They have a surplus of money. They're going to be all right, and if their pocket gets hurt, they have billions and billions to rely on. But these stadium workers, they're without a job at the moment, and same with the players. So it really just goes to show you who has the bigger picture in mind. The owners, they didn't choose to do this. The Players Association, whether you think this is the save face because Major League Baseball has been canceled and you think the players are just trying to get some pity votes, I have no idea what the counter argument could be to this. I am going to give them a round of applause because they understand that not only are the players going to suffer through this lockout, but the people who rely on the stadiums and even the surrounding businesses. Like, people open mom and pop shops in Arizona and Florida for spring training, and that is when they get their best business, and they have been affected. Stadium workers, obviously, they do not have a job for the next few weeks, so good on the Players Association. This is one of the few good things that has happened over the last few days. Now, unfortunately, that is where we end with the positive news, as it was confirmed that more spring training games have been canceled. There will not be baseball at least until the 18th of March. So that means that Big League Weekend, I paid almost $300 for these tickets. It was supposed to be March 12th through the 13th. It would have been the first official game for the brand new Cleveland Guardians. It was going to be against the Oakland A's, who are quickly becoming one of my favorite teams in baseball because their AAA team is in Las Vegas. I'm big sad. I was really excited to watch baseball in the sun. But either way, let's go ahead and talk about the lockout updates. Both parties talked on Thursday, and they had 3 different rule changes in mind. Banning the shift was the first one. The second one is they want to implement a pitch clock, and they want to use bigger bases going forward. Banning the shift allows more action to happen. So I guess pace of play isn't the biggest goal. It's one of them, but the other maybe secondary goal is have some more fun in terms of Joey Gallo is not going to be hitting into the shift every single at-bat. He's going to have more line drive singles and doubles, which is going to add to the fun and the allure of baseball that you're not going to get robbed every other at-bat. And then the pitch clock is going to help pace of play and bigger bases. Now that we have instant replay, these managers are getting away with the microseconds that a player is off the bag, and a bigger base technically is going to allow more stolen bases, hence more action, because it's going to have a little bit more give. So when a player slides in head first or feet first, it's not like they're going to be slipping off, and that micro millisecond that they actually hovered above the bag, and that was only visible through replay, they're trying to mitigate that, so stolen bases are part of the game yet again. And the banning of the shift, I do not want the shift to get banned. I want them to limit it. A pitch clock, I don't know how the players are going to respond to that, and the bigger bases. I will say, sliding into a base that has more give sounds like a good idea on paper. but a bigger base just might look a little funny. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you make of those three proposals: banning of the shift or limiting of the shift, the pitch clock, and the bigger bases? And also, I just want to mention, they talked on Thursday, they didn't talk Friday, and they're not going to talk today. I guess one of the biggest reasons why is because on Thursday, the Players Association kind of said, hey, we will give you a 14-team playoff if you come up to our asking price and the CBT, the luxury tax. Take that with a grain of salt. That has not been confirmed, but I feel like the players are going to give a little bit more on the playoff side of things if they can get that CBT raised for the future. Now let's go ahead and talk about Freddie Freeman and how it was rumored and then confirmed by sources that he had talked to the Mets right before the December 1st lockout, and what this would mean is Pete Alonso would be shifted to a designated hitter role. Now back in 2020, Pete Alonso was one of the more horrific defensive first basemen in all of Major League Baseball, but in 2021 he made some strides, so technically they don't really need Freddie Freeman, but Freddie has a career 904 OPS versus the Mets, so it would be nice to steal him away from the Braves, and the Braves, they have a good amount of prospects. They can sign a few guys. I don't want Freddie Freeman to leave because he's a lot like Derek Jeter, kind of a spokesman for the city. He's the captain of the squad in my opinion, and I just think it would be great for baseball if he stayed an Atlanta Brave forever. But also, I don't mind the parity if players move to different teams. It just switches it up and makes it more fun for me as a non-Atlanta Braves fan, because if he goes to the Marlins or the Yankees or the New York Mets, like it was rumored and confirmed, they both had talks before the lockout. Again, it's just parody. It's something new to talk about, and I'm always down with the dramatics of Major League Baseball, because football and basketball, they have the edge in that department where, yeah, they have a few guys that sign 10 to 15-year contracts, but for the most part, a lot of these guys are on the move every 4 or 5 years. Imagine Mike Trout or Bryce Harper as free agents every half decade. To me, that would be fun, but it's not realistic considering baseball has guaranteed money, so they're going to go for the biggest money that they can get. Now, I will say this brings up an interesting rabbit hole, because the Mets, what have they been doing the last year and a half? They have been trading for players and signing guys left and right because of their new owner, Steve Cohen, who is worth $10+ billion. He is not afraid to put together a super team, and that is why 4 owners, this is just my opinion speaking from the little fuzzy perspective, that is why 4 owners rejected the $220 million CBT threshold. The 4 owners, the Angels, the Tigers, the Reds, and the D-backs. I'll just say this, the owners of the Angels and the Tigers are worth a combined $7.4 billion. So the fact that people are still pro-owner and justifying guys who are almost worth $8 billion combined to not budge from $210 million in a CBT to 220. So again, they're billionaires, but they're very cheap. Arte Moreno, he's the owner of the Angels. He did dish out $400 million for Mike Trout, so whether you want to call him cheap, I don't really know what you want to make of that, but to me, all of these owners are terrified of Steve Cohen and other owners like the Dodgers and the Yankees, teams that are willing to actually spend money and actually develop farm systems at the same time. The Dodgers, they have a lot of proven prospects. Gavin Lux, he's teetering on the line of bust. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you have for expectations in 2022 for Gavin Lux? But yeah, that is kind of it for today's video. Some positive news, some not so positive news, and this is just some confusing news. A Mickey Mantle baseball card, not a real life physical card, an NFT, a digital one-of-one card, just sold for $470,000. I don't understand that. I'm young and I collect baseball cards. I just don't understand NFTs. My mom's trying to get me into it, but thank you guys for watching. I'm going to go ahead and end today's video with a clip of Stephen A. Smith going off on Mad Dog Russo. Mad Dog Russo works for MLB Network. Stephen A. Smith has no idea what he's talking about in regards to baseball, so the fact that the MLB guy got toasted by Stephen A. Smith, it says something about where MLB Network is as a whole. Just saying.
Situation is on the owners. The league waited 3 months to counter the union's first core economics proposal, then another 6 weeks to circle back after imposing the lockout in December. Now, as a person, you know what that strategy seems like to me, doggy? It seems like an ownership group. Obviously, the face of it is the commissioner who answers to them, who wants to create a situation where they ultimately get to impose a final offer that the players must capitulate to. And by then, what will happen is the players will say no. As a result, they strike. And you got cats like Mad Dog Russo talking about the play is struck. The play is struck. These guys ain't trying to make a deal.
Two things. First off, you're right. I have been pro owner since 1981. So I'll give you that one for a change. You got one right.